Hi, welcome back to Taji's World of Books and welcome to another book series recommendation video. Hi everybody, welcome back. So this is going to be like a midweek sort of wrap up. I got two series that I want to get to you, and I just finished one of the books and I'm so excited to talk to you guys about it. And the first series is Sierra Simone's The Priest series. I absolutely love this series. I have read Priest, Midnight Mass, and Sinner in the past, but I went ahead and reread them for this to get prepared for Saint. Didn't have to do it, but I loved it nonetheless. So right now there are 3 primary works in the series and 1 novella, and Sierra Simone did say that Father Jordan, who we hear a lot about throughout the series, not a lot, but some, but definitely much more in Saint, we hear about Father Jordan, and so he is going to get his own book, so I'm super excited about that. And then the 4th brother, Ryan, the youngest brother, he may get a book as well, so I'm really looking to hear about how she folds that in and what she does. So without further ado, let's talk a little bit more about the series. So the first book in the series is Priest, and I absolutely love it. It is about the second oldest brother. So the oldest brother is Sean, then the next brother is Tyler, and this is about Tyler. And Tyler is a Catholic priest. The series is set in Kansas. He's a Catholic priest, and he is going along in his life, his monastic life, if you will, being a priest, shepherding his flock, when he meets a girl named Poppy, who is not a Catholic, but she is going through some challenging times in her life, and as a result of the challenging circumstances in her life, she seeks out God to help her and assist her through making changes, how she's thinking about things, and she goes to Tyler to be sort of counseled through this, and to see how to be a Catholic and how to get closer to God and how to reconcile her feelings and things that have happened and make confession with things that she's done and guilt that she's feeling, and just to kind of unravel things and unburden her soul. And there's an instant attraction between Tyler and Poppy, even though they are in a confessional and they can't see each other. They're attracted to what they hear, their voices. And so this is a taboo story about a romance between a priest and his parishioner, and what that does to one's soul, and how do you wrestle with maintaining your religious life and being devoted to God, but also loving someone else so entirely with your whole being and soul, and isn't that what God would want for you? So this book is poetic and beautiful and heart-wrenching and glorious and wonderful, and just, it is everything. It is this entire Sierra Simone. If you're in a reading slump and you feel like everything is like monotonous and whatever, read Sierra Simone. Like, Sierra Simone for sure will take you out of that reading slump and put you in this place of, her writing style is just poetic and beautiful, and your heart bleeds. And I cried the second time through with this story of Poppy and Tyler, and you just want so much for them, for his religious life as well as for his secular life, for his relationship with Poppy, and it's just gorgeous and beautiful. I gave this a 5 out of 5 star. If you haven't checked it out, please do that. So then the novella 1.5 is Midnight Mass. This is where we first see Father Jordan, and Jordan is best friends with Tyler, and Tyler goes to Jordan in many ways and kind of gets his own. He talks with Jordan here and gets advice from Jordan on what to do, but really we see, Jordan here as well. And this really is what happens when decisions are made and Tyler is trying to figure out his life, but then he finds that he's also grappling with other things. He's always looking for something to replace the guilt that he feels. And if you haven't read the story, I don't want to spoil it, but it's more about Tyler and Poppy's story, and it's amazing and really, really good. Okay, and it's a 5 out of 5 star for sure. So then the next book in the series is Sinner, and this is about oldest Bell brother Sean. And Sean is Sean is a millionaire playboy, and he is just sick of the monotony and sick of the games and sick of the same old thing. And it is about him coming up against, he's a property developer, and he is in the works of working on a deal about a property, and they are not able to move forward with the deal because a cloister of nuns live in this property, and he has to figure out how to rehouse them in a way that makes sense. And it's his story, and it's his story with a nun. And she's not a nun, she's an officiate, I think. She is like on her way to becoming a nun. And so it is so beautiful. It's also a interracial relationship, and it's also an age gap, and it's also taboo, and it is juicy and beautiful and glorious and wonderful and sexy and hot and just amazing. So this is absolutely a 5 out of 5 star for sure. And then the final book so far is not Tyler. This is Aiden's story. So the Bell brothers go Sean, Tyler, Aiden, and then Ryan. So this is the third brother. This is Aiden's story. And Aiden comes up really in here, and we see Aiden is just like all over the place. All over the place. You can't figure out if he's coming or going, if he's happy, if he's depressed, if he's just all over the place. Very bipolar presentation. And some things happen in Aiden's life, and Aiden decides that he is going to become a monk. And it is about their story, his story. It is an story. Most of it takes place in a cloistered monastery, and I'm not going to tell you who the other significant other is because it comes up in other books, so I don't want to spoil it for you, but it is really poetic and heart-wrenching. I cried through this book. This book is controversial because some people don't like it and they think it was a bomb. I think it was a total success. I thought it was really good because it's really about how do I do both? How do I have my love of God, and how do I have a sexual relationship and have the partner that I love as well? How do I heal my soul, and how do I heal from depression and mental illness and from other things as well? There's some trigger warnings, so check it out. How do I heal from other things as well and still be who I intended to be and who I want to be? And that is a person of God as well as a sexual being, a partner, and can I have all of those things? And how do I give up one without the other? So this is like so heart-wrenching and so beautiful, because if anybody's ever struggled with wanting something so dearly and then not being able to have it, I just finished this book, so I'm still kind of emotional from it. Wanting something so dearly and not being able to have it, but not being able to give it up either. Like, I understand that, I get that. And struggling with guilt and remorse and regret. And Sierra Simone just did this book such justice, because you feel his pain, you feel the remorse, you feel the regret, you feel the frustration, you feel like him trying to change his life and to be taken seriously and to be viewed in a different way, and then not having that and hearing blows about people saying, yeah, like, you can't keep it together, somebody's got to help you keep it straight. And he's like, shit, yeah, that's how I used to be, and I'm working so hard to be different, and you're not recognizing that. So this is just so powerful and so poignant in so many ways, and I think that you should give it a shot. It is it's one of the best representations, in my opinion, of an relationship that's conflicted and torn and just challenged and struggles. It's just so good. This entire series, as I said, is an absolute 5 out of 5 stars. It's one of my all-time favorite series. And like I said earlier, Father Bell is going to get his own book. And so we're waiting. Hopefully that'll be in the next year. And then she said it potentially Ryan as well. But I could see that there's a story there for Ryan. So the youngest Bell brother. So that is Sierra Simone Saint. And then the other series that I wanted to talk with you about is I finally did Trisha Wolfe's Born Darkly and Born Madly series, or Duet, her Duet. These you can find in a bind-up. The audiobook is in a bind-up of, it's called like Born Darkly Duet. They're together, so you won't find their individual audiobooks. And they're on Audible or whatever, service that you tend to stream for, whether it be Scribd or your local library or Hoopla or whatever, you can find them there. And so I absolutely loved this series. This series is about, it's a serial killer sort of romance or series, Duet, and the main characters here are Grayson and London. And so it's about a psychologist who takes on the most difficult, diabolical, dark serial killer, murderers, pedophilia, like any kind of like really difficult cases that need to have evaluations for court to either determine if they're going to be sentenced to death or if they're going to be sentenced to life in a mental institution or whether they're going to go to prison. So she basically is the end-all be-all. She's the voice for that, right? So in this particular book, Grayson is sent to London, and London has to evaluate him because he's being tried to determine whether or not he's going to be sentenced to life in prison or whether he is going to be sent to the death penalty. And her voice and her evaluation is going to determine which will be the outcome. And so as the story unfolds, you start to see that Grayson is highly intelligent, and he is a psychopath, and everything is calculated, and everything is manipulative, and everything that he does has a purpose and an outcome and a desired effect. And whether or not London falls into prey to that, or if London is involved in that, and it is a suspense, it is a horror story, it is intrigue, it's a thriller, it's so exciting and so good, and the dynamic between London and Grayson is absolutely amazing. It's dark, it's twisted, you know, it gives you a glimpse and a look into psychopathy and into criminal psychology and into the criminal mind, and how the tables can be turned on you in terms of what you view your patient as and how your patient views you. And so this book is really, really good. I absolutely loved it. You know, it's a 4.75. It is definitely something that's perfect to read around September, October when you're wanting more atmospheric and spooky kind of thriller reads. This absolutely hits the spot. This first book is about London and Grayson's, you know, kind of get to know you and their dynamic and their initial interactions and what's happening in the future. And then this book, Born Madly, the conclusion to the Darkly Madly Duet is what it's called. But to the conclusion of that is really Grayson's story and unfolding who Grayson is and what has happened in his past to make him be who he is, to make him think the way he does about things. And, you know, here London is determined, because she's very inquisitive, she's very determined to understand and unpack him and figure out why he is the way that he is. And she does figure that out, and it's about what happens with their story. And I loved how it concluded. I loved how it ended up. I absolutely gave this story a 5 out of 5 star for sure. Overall, as the series, there are other characters that are in this book that are in this duet that appear in another series that I am going to review shortly. And that other series, the other books are called With Visions of Red. And so there's Sadie. So Sadie is one of London's really good friends, and she also is a criminal evaluator who works for the FBI. And so Sadie appears in these books, but she has her own story, and I think it's the first of the novels are called With Visions of Red, and then the second is called something else. So I'm going to go ahead and check that out because Sadie's story seems really interesting, so I'll review that on here as well. So if you haven't checked these out and Trisha Wolfe, I absolutely think you should. Like I said, overall the series is a 5 out of 5. The first book I gave it like a 4.75, and then this one I gave a 5 because I really love the conclusion, and so I think you should check it out as well. So having said that, you guys, this is my midweek wrap up of the 2 series that I'm going to recommend to you, and I think that you guys read exactly the way that I do, so I think that you will really appreciate them and really enjoy them. And having said that, that is all that I have for today. And you know I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so please come back, check them out, hang out with me some more, and I'll see you next time. Bye!